Hi, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're talking about pension income options. If you're nearing retirement or just thinking about your options for when you get there, one of the most important decisions you'll need to make is how you access your pension. To help illustrate these options, let's look at an example. Meet Tom. Tom is 60 years old. He has a small defined benefit pension, but in addition to this, he has a £250,000 pension pot. He's worked hard all his life, but now that retirement is on the horizon, he's feeling a little uncertain on what to do with his £250,000 pension. He's not sure which option is right for him. Does he want guaranteed income? Or does he need more flexibility in his retirement where he can take what he wants when he wants? Tom's not only thinking about his own future, but also how his choices might impact his wife, Jane. He wants to be sure that if anything happens to him, she'll be financially secure. After all, the right decision now could set them up for a comfortable, stress-free retirement. It's a tough decision, but understanding how each option works might help Tom and you make the right choice. So, today let's walk through each option and see how they would work in Tom's case. The first option is Tom could use his pension to buy an annuity. With an annuity, you're exchanging the taxable portion of your pension for a guaranteed income. This can be really appealing if you're someone who wants certainty in retirement. The most common reason people choose annuities is that they like the peace of mind knowing that they'll have a fixed income for the rest of their life, no matter how long they live. It can also help when managing your budgeting in retirement. Having that reliable income makes it easier to plan for expenses, knowing exactly what's coming in every month. So, how would this work for Tom? Well, in the first instance, Tom would take his 25% tax-free cash portion from his pension, which is £62,500. Tom is then left with £187,500 to convert into an annuity. For a standard annuity, which does not increase with inflation, current rates suggest Tom could get £13,003 a year from his remaining £187,500. So in simple terms, that's an annual income of roughly 7% of his remaining pot after taking the tax-free cash. That may seem like a solid income, and for Tom this might sound appealing because it's predictable and fixed, but it's important to consider how this holds up over his whole retirement. The £13,003 is level, so it won't rise with inflation. Over time, this means that the purchasing power of that income will decrease because the cost of living tends to rise. So while that amount might be okay now, Tom will need to think about whether that will be enough in 10, 15 or 20 years time. Now there is an option to get around this problem, and that's by choosing an inflation protected annuity. With this type of annuity, Tom's income increases each year to keep up with inflation. The income, however, starts off lower than the level annuity. If Tom opts for an annuity that increases with the retail prices index, his annual income would drop to around £8,412 a year, which would be 4.5% of the remaining pot. This may not be as much initially, but over time it can provide much needed protection against the rising cost of living. But if Tom gets an annuity, what does it mean if he passes away? The above quotes are on a single life annuity basis, meaning the income stops as soon as Tom dies. If Tom wants to make sure Jane receives a portion of his annuity after he's gone, he could consider a joint life annuity or a guarantee period. These options ensure that a portion of the income continue to be paid out after Tom's death. For a joint life annuity with no inflation rises, his income would be £12,494 a year, with Jane receiving 50% of the income if Tom passes away before her. This would be about 6.7% of his remaining £187,500 pension pot. An alternative is a guarantee period. This is an option you can add to your annuity that ensures your income will be paid for a minimum number of years, regardless of whether you're alive to receive it. If Tom were to add a 10-year guarantee period to his original single life annuity with no inflation rises, his income would be £12,873, so 6.9% of the £187,500. A joint life annuity or guarantee period can provide great peace of mind knowing that Jane will still have some income even after Tom passes. However, in both options, they do reduce the initial income Tom will receive. Something else to keep in mind when considering annuities is they are subject to income tax. So as Tom is in the basic rate tax bracket, he'll pay 20% tax on that income. This is something to factor in when planning Tom's retirement, as it will reduce the amount of money he actually receives. Whilst Tom likes the idea of having a guaranteed pension income, he is also considering keeping his pension and accessing it when he needs to, as many of his colleagues seem to have done it this way. But how does this work? To explain Tom's options, let's think of his pension as a pack of fruit pastels. The purple sweets represent Tom's £62,500 tax-free cash portion of his pension, whilst the red sweets represent the £187,500 part that is taxable. One way you can access his pension is through an uncrystallised fund pension lump sum, or UFPLS for short. UFPLS is a way to access your pension pot without having to move it into a drawdown or purchase an annuity. With UFPLS, you can take a lump sum directly from your pension pot. When you use UFPLS, 25% of each lump sum you take is tax-free, and the remaining 75% is taxable. So every time you make a withdrawal, you're essentially withdrawing both the tax-free part and the taxable part of your money in proportion. Let's say Tom decides to take a £10,000 UFPLS from his pension pot. The purple sweets, the first 25% of that £10,000 is tax-free. So Tom gets £2,500 without paying any tax on it. The red sweets, the remaining £7,500 is taxable. As Tom is a basic rate taxpayer, that portion will be taxed at 20%, which means he'll pay £1,500 in tax. This gives Tom a net amount of £8,500 from a £10,000 UFPLS withdrawal. While UFPLS offers a straightforward way to access your pension, it means each time you make a withdrawal, you're taking taxable income, which may not be the best option for you at that time. This could lead to higher than expected tax bills if you're not careful with the amount you take out. Additionally, once you withdraw money through UFPLS, it's no longer invested, meaning you're potentially missing out on future growth in your pension pot. So this is where Drawdown comes in, giving Tom more options. To understand Drawdown, we first need to explain crystallising a pension. Crystallising your pension is just a fancy way of saying you're unlocking part of your pension pot so you can start using it. It's the step you take to move your money from the saving stage, known as uncrystallised, to the spending stage, or the crystallised stage. When you crystallise your pension, you're essentially saying, I'm ready to start taking income from this pot and want access to it. Unlike UFPLS, where the process is simpler but more restrictive, Drawdown gives you more options once your pension is crystallised. The first option is taking some or all of your tax-free cash portion of your pension. Normally, this is 25% of your pension pot. For example, if Tom decides he wants to take £10,000 of tax-free cash, he would need to crystallise £40,000 of his pension pot. This would mean that £10,000 would be tax-free cash and paid out to him, and the remaining £30,000 would move into the crystallised section of his pension. This £30,000 stays invested and is still part of his pension. With Tom's £30,000 crystallised part, he has a few options. He could withdraw it all in one go, along with his tax-free cash, just like we did in the UFPLS withdrawal. He could leave it there but withdraw it monthly. He could take it in ad hoc lump sums when it best suited him, or he could just leave it where it is in the pension and keep it invested so it grows over the long term. One of the key benefits of this is you have the flexibility to crystallise as much of your pension as you want when you want. There's no need to crystallise the entire pot all at once. You can choose to crystallise just a portion of your pension depending on your needs at that time. For example, if Tom wants to take a monthly income of £1,700, he could crystallise just enough to provide that income. Tom could crystallise £2,000 a month, of which £500 would be tax-free cash, and the remaining £1,500 would come from the taxable portion. As Tom is a basic rate taxpayer, he would pay £300 in tax, leaving him his net amount of £1,700 a month. Alternatively, Tom could take this monthly income solely from his tax-free cash part. To do this, Tom would crystallise £6,800 a month, giving him £1,700 as a tax-free cash lump sum, and the remaining £5,100 staying invested in the crystallised portion of his pension, ready for him to draw on when he needs it. Drawdown gives Tom options and more control over his income. He can choose how much to take out, when and in what form, providing flexibility and the ability to spread taxable withdrawals over time. This strategy can help Tom manage his taxes, which can be very useful when his state pension starts, as he can take smaller, more manageable amounts from the taxable portion, potentially keeping him in a lower tax bracket. When it comes to passing on his pension to Jane or his children, the remaining funds in his drawdown pot would be inherited by them. This means that even though Tom is accessing his pension during his retirement, there's still the potential to leave something behind for his loved ones. However, Tom will need to carefully manage how much he withdraws, as excessive withdrawals or investment performance below his expectations could mean he runs out of money sooner than he anticipated. This makes careful tax, investment and overall financial planning essential, ensuring that his withdrawals are sustainable over the long term. So, Tom is staring at the options. The annuity gives him peace of mind and a guaranteed income for life. But does it provide enough? And what if inflation eats away at his income over time? Or is he locking himself into a poor deal that he can't undo, and he'd actually be better off staying invested? On the other hand, Drawdown offers flexibility, but it also comes with stress. What if the market crashes just when he starts withdrawing money? Or what if he runs out of money later on in life and there's nothing left to fall back on? The choice that Tom makes now will affect not just his peace of mind today, but his and Jane's financial security for years to come. It's a decision that's about more than just the numbers. It's about giving him and Jane a stable retirement. So, what does Tom decide? In the end, Tom chooses a hybrid approach. He uses part of his pension to purchase a small annuity, ensuring his basic fixed living expenses are covered. But for the majority of his pension, he prefers drawdown, giving him greater control and flexibility. This allows him to access additional funds as needed and pass any remaining funds on to Jane or his children. Tom also knows that if his circumstances change, he can always convert his drawdown pot into another annuity at a later stage. This approach works well for Tom, as it gives him the stability of guaranteed income while also leaving room for growth and future withdrawals, all whilst maintaining the option to leave something behind for his family. Now, of course, this strategy isn't for everyone, and depending on your circumstances, a full annuity or full drawdown might work better for you. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope you've got a better understanding of your pension income options. If you're considering retirement and want to know what are some common missed opportunities ICR, be sure to watch this video here, where I look at a real client example and dive into how tax planning, investment choices and reviewing your defined benefit pensions can help you make the most of your retirement savings. And I'll see you over there.